Hello, this is Victor at RestoringMercedes.com. This video is for Mike, just to get this documented before I put everything back together. So, Mike, as I spoke with you on the phone about the radio, which is kind of something that I'm really proud of actually, because it wasn't that easy. So, as you know, your speaker sets, 6 speakers up front, 2 speakers in the back, and the radio, like I told you before, it's a 2-piece radio, which is really nice radio to believe it or not. It's an older radio, yes, but it's a made in Japan, Nakamichi, very presentable company, very expensive back then, and still is actually valuable. People still sell it for a good amount of money. So it's a CD changer up in at the head unit, and this is the brain. So this is where everything connects to. And then from here it goes to the amplifier. That's aftermarket amplifier. It does not have amplifier in it at all. It's just purely for sound quality. So you do need to use an amplifier, which is very nice, because that's only high-end radios have that. Also, we had additional auxiliary input, which I made here as just an auxiliary wire here, regular 3.5 millimeter, which I'm going to replace to Bluetooth adapter later on, but for testing purposes I just had that done more or less permanently. Auxiliary number 2, there was available connection. Now the CD changer, like I said, is not working, unfortunately. I'm so bummed about it, because I really wanted to hear this thing with CD, because that would give you better quality than telephone or any kind of auxiliary input. Okay, going back to the rear here. Now in the back of the vehicle you obviously have this amplifier, and I did find crossovers. The crossovers are by MB Quart, and speakers are MB Quart. Those are German speakers, very nice speakers. So what they did here is they had these crossovers adapted to get basically 8 speakers in the car, plus the subwoofer output activated. Actually, no subwoofer here. The subwoofer is connected straight from the amplifier, but these are crossovers for your speakers. So first thing first, the sound itself, I mean, I don't think these speakers were matched very well to the vehicle, to be honest with you. So what I had to do first is I had to disconnect rear speakers, because there was way too many high frequencies, plus lots of mid frequencies that would actually hurt your ear. It was really ridiculous. So I disconnected the rears first, and then basically I was trying to tune it in, just to see which frequencies I have to lower and which ones I have to bump. I had this is the Parametric Equalizer, so you can basically bump up frequencies up and down. It's not super scientific way of doing things, but my ears are pretty good in terms of listening to how stuff's supposed to sound, so I trust my ears. Scientifically you're gonna have to have special equipment to measure frequencies and decibels and all that stuff, but to my ears these are my special instruments, I guess. I've done quite a few sound systems in cars, and all of them sounded amazing. So second thing is, after all I did, disconnect the rear speakers. High frequencies went lower, and mid frequencies was still a little louder, and about I would say about 3000 hertz. It would still hurt your ears because it was very sharp sound. So I tried to mess up with the adjustments on the amplifier, but because they were crossover, they don't really change much, because crossover is a passive one, so it just cuts the frequencies that had to be cut anyway. So second thing is I basically bypassed it. This is temporary, but I bypassed the crossover, so I have control from the amp to speakers. So when I had that control, then I can change frequencies individually and lower down that very sharp sound from mid frequency, and it still was harsh. So what I decided to do is I decided to disconnect these speakers. These are mid frequencies, mid range. It's just to leave the high frequency and low frequency, but actually that became full range, and then you have high frequency speaker. And then because it's connected straight, I just basically bypassed the these passive crossovers. I bypassed them. So basically I would run it into the amp, so into two channels, front channel and rear channel, and then I can just basically control my frequencies from the amp, bypassing the crossovers, and only tweeter, which is the high frequency on the top, is the top one is the full range. The bottom is going to be the high frequency. And basically at this point I can control just two sets of speakers with the amp individually, which is the way to do it. And with that control I can just lower this frequency here that was the harshest and set crossovers so they do not distort, and adjust the subwoofer volume so everything matches. And I'm not gonna even play it because it doesn't make sense. You're never gonna hear it over the cell phone or over the YouTube, but once you hear it, you should love it. I mean, I really like it. The way it sounds now, it's really nice. It's clean, soft sound, not too harsh and crisp. It's just right where it's supposed to be. Sometimes more is not better. So yeah, they connected all these speakers and everything, but you sit in the car, your head is over here, so it's basically the car is too small, so you closer to the rear speakers, so these overpower the fronts and everything becomes mismatched, and then the tweeters are pointed at your ears, especially the left one is so close. So not only that these screaming out loud, the rear speakers, but the tweeters also amplify high frequencies. My ears actually heard it when I play it loud because it's too much. So once we get to this very basic setup, just the full range and the tweeter and a subwoofer and behind the seat, that original Bose subwoofer is still connected, everything became just like very well balanced. Because you sit over here, you're gonna hear left and right like in headphones, and you can play it at maximum volume, no distortions. It's really nice. So before I just put it all back together and close everything down, I close the cover on the amplifier to cover up all these adjustments so they don't get knocked off accidentally. I just wanted to make this video and just to show you what was going on. These things I'm going to close down again because they were actually wrapped in this cloth, because the crossovers in their cases, they're so big there is no really space to put them anywhere. So whoever installed this, they've wrapped it in this tape. They also had intermittent piece of acrylic, so both crossovers don't touch each other, which is a really nice setup. I mean, I tell you, this is the acrylic piece that they had in between, so they're not short. It appears to be actually a part of a crossover case. So, and all the wires run straight from the source, from the crossovers through the vehicle to individual speakers. But that was a lot of work, to be honest. So whoever did this, they did the right thing, and it is a nicely done system, I have to say. I mean, they did it nice, but they didn't really tune it at all. I mean, it just, the way it sounded horrible. I really hated it. Now I really love it. And I did the dome light circuit as well. I ordered the piece. You see the light is on now. The other piece on the right is coming, so I'm going to replace that. And well, of course these other lights do work, the little puddle lights work. So far so good. The engine compartment, let me just make a picture real quick of the engine compartment, just so you know what it looks like. So here we have our mass airflows right there. The evap system was messed up, so I was having wrong readings. The system was too lean on one side because the vacuum was leaking, so I found a problem there. I'll tell you about it later when I see you. Same here, mass airflow is done, and throttle body is also done. I did throttle bodies because wires were in bad shape, and these are the new looms for mass airflows. These are the old wires, if you remember how they did them. So that was pretty bad. They're not live anymore, they just cut off. And here we have our little ground cables here, two grounds that go down into the computer compartment. Wires enter right there. So new looms on mass airflows. The ignition cable, I still haven't done it properly. I just run it on the outside here. That's the right bank ignition off the coil. which is right here. So I didn't close the coil yet. I just had it, just let it just sit here for now. Not a deal breaker. I'll take care of it later because we have transmission to take care of, and suspension, a little bit of a suspension. Plus this thing has to be done too because you'll cook the paint above your hood. And of course I'm gonna close down computer box. So I mean, all little minor things, but right now I do like the vehicle. Last thing to do is to do the stance, suspension height, because in the back here, to me it's a little bit too high in the back, a little bit too low in the front. So I'm going to redo the suspension height once I have it on the flat lift, alignment lift, and yeah, it'll be nice. I mean, that's gonna work. Alright, so this is Victor at RestoreYourMercedes.com, video for Mike, and you can always find me on my website. Thanks for watching.